Alright guys, welcome back to Bakemonogatari. This is episode 13, Tsubasa Cat Part 3. Last time was a very good episode. And I don't know, I'm just curious where we're gonna go from there. If we can go up even more from there, that would be insane. But I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. There's a Patreon down in the description if you want the unedited reaction with the picture and everything. Otherwise, you can line up your own copy with this, but we will be starting in 3, 2, 1. Cat cloud. Like cat ears. Oh, is he like happy from yesterday, I'm guessing? He's humming. Ooh, looks fancy. Fancy shadow. Mm-hmm. I feel like we don't see Araragi as happy very often. Hachikuji! Hmm? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What is she doing? Surely she sees him. It has been so long. Alright. What hello. That's great. Yeah, thank you. That face. um. We're gonna do this every time. Kamiwaita. The cat ears again. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot. Hachikuji knows Hanakawa. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're back to this, huh? It's been brought up before. I don't actually remember who. I remember in one of the earlier episodes, um, Aragi specifically said, yeah, he basically specifically said this. I don't remember who the conversation was with, though. Okay, well, that's, yeah. I owe her too much, and she wouldn't like me anyway. That's great. Hmm. Shinobu. What about her? When has Hajikuji seen her before? Saw her around? In the middle of the desert? Okay. They have mentioned donuts about her before. When Oshino said she was like sulking. Hmm. Thank you. See ya, Hajikuji. It's nice, he just has this, I don't know. It's like he has a spirit guide in Hajikuji, you know? He can just show up and talk to her. I don't know, I guess he kind of just randomly stumbles across her. What does she do all day? She just wander around and then just sometimes gets to talk to Aragi, I guess? It's only the second time I actually get this opening. We didn't have it last time. Hmm. It's like she's thinking about, you know, her own feelings. That line about becoming a demon, you know? Gonna be waiting a while if that's your strategy, Hanakawa. Yeah, this is like the issue she has, her whole thing with Aragi here. It's not something that you can ever solve by never telling anyone about it. Cat ears. We have seen some cat ears. That is... hmm. Lots of bikes. Wow. Hmm. What is she doing just sitting in the park? There's school today, isn't there? I had to guess she's having some cat-related issues. Oh, is he going to... I'm guessing she texted him asking to meet him. Hmm? Guess that's what you can call it. I assume she knows what he means. What? Alright. What? Alright. That's not... That's not impressive at all. That's not good. No. You haven't said it yet. Oh. Hmm. You know, I'm just wondering if that serves as just, you know, yet another reminder of how firm his relationship with Shinjogahara is before he goes off to now help Hanakawa with her problem, which, you know, I think we know what it is. And what the easy solution to fix it would be, in his mind. Come on. This is an emergency. He's just stuck in that pose. What happened to that bike? Has it just been sitting there for years? And what does that even mean? Hmm. Oh, she's okay. She's already talked to Senjugahara. I guess just because she was missing school today. True. Alright, come on. Yeah. Hmm. Of course she is. Yeah, this is the problem. I'm surprised she could even bring herself to bring Aragi out here, you know? Because how is she even gonna explain her problem? How is she even gonna, you know? Because, hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I guess in her mind, she doesn't know this whole cat thing and her stress, especially relating Aragi and Senjukahara, are related specifically, right? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Interesting. She's not even asking just for Aragi to help, just Oshino. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Okay, sure. Let's go for it. See what you got, Aragi. Surely you can fix this by yourself, right? Because he already has kind of a general grasp of how this thing works, the whole stress thing, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like he'll have a bit of a mental block, uh, actually figuring out what would be causing her stress, though. Of course she didn't want to make him worry. That's her thing, right? Hmm. What? This can't be related. There's no way. Alright, okay. We're really going into something, aren't we? Sure. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think his own investigations are gonna go very far. True, I guess. That doesn't mean he heard it from a maid, though. No, I think I guess this is like Hanakawa doing, uh, doing the thing she always does. She's just so uncomfortable bringing up her problems that she's just going off into nonsense now. The posturing waggler. What? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, surely these were all deeply related to the issue at hand. Thank you, thank you. All right. Give us another one. Give us one that's easy to understand. Thank you. Walk toward the apple. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What? Oh, okay. Like, I guess I get it. Alright. Is that... What? Huh? Yeah, like, come on, Hanakawa. You did the hard part, and you asked him out here to help you. So I think you can explain your problem more. That's kind of a question. Come on. It's a request. Eh, yeah. Care more about my debt to you than our friendship. That's like a horrible thing to say. Hello? That's all. Why would you say that? Spring break, huh? Interesting. Huh. Man, okay, interesting. Wow, alright. Huh. Alright, we'll really have some stuff to talk about in the discussion. Hmm. Cat ears? You know, I kind of saw that in the opening text. Yeah. Very cute. Man, I don't know what happened. My computer, like, crashed or something. But it froze everything, so... Thank you! What does that mean? Hmm. Is he just gonna assume it's the same thing, her parents, right? I assume her parents are still part of it, you know. That definitely still causes her stress, because that problem was never fixed. But not the main issue. True. That is true. Alright. Calm down. Alright. Please. Move. Let's get going. Oh god. You never want to hear that. A cat ear cloud again. Hmm. Mm-hmm. He doesn't view it as them. He doesn't view it as himself taking care of them. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Mm. Spring break. Mm-hmm. The underlying causes, at least, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Whoa. So, like, is she implying... Yeah. Huh. She's looking for an excuse for her own feelings. Yeah. No, she's... she's talking about herself again, right? You know. She wants some kind of excuse for why she feels like this. Why she can distance herself from her own feelings so she doesn't have to deal with them, you know? Oh. Hmm. Oh, there's a bunch of cars here. What's he doing outside? He sounds so disappointed about Aragi. Mm-hmm. What was your normal line? Hmm. Interesting. You believe it? It's actually Hanakawa who got Aragi to skip school. The what? Oshino is acting weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you? What are you doing? Hmm. That's a very strange way to phrase that. Oh, wow. Okay. Why do you keep saying that? Hmm. I wonder if Oshino will be, Oh, okay. Alright, sure. That's a good way to deal with the problem. Just kill her. Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. He tried, at least. Nautico? Well, maybe. Hmm. The cat? Oh, yep. Here she comes. The sex kitten. Okay. If you say so. Some good music. Been a while. What? Hmm. Alright. That was an episode. I guess that felt more like the first episode of an arc than the previous two did, right? The difference here is we already know what Hanakawa's problem is. We're just waiting to see when Aragi will figure it out, and what his reaction to it will be. Because, you know, in a way, it's like with the Kanbaru situation, the solution that he had. Sorry, I hit my mic. The solution that he had was to let Kanbaru kill him, right? Which I almost feel like that is an easier thing for him to do than do the easy, obvious solution in this situation and, break up with Sindrugahara and start dating Hanakawa. I mean, it's just unimaginable, right? That would never happen. So Sindrugahara wouldn't let that happen, right? So yeah, in a way, it's like the stakes are higher here than the arc where Araragi was just gonna let someone kill him, you know? I guess it makes sense from an emotional perspective too. There's, multiple characters involved here. It's Araragi and Sindrugahara and Hanakawa, instead of just Araragi letting someone kill him. Hmm. It was a good episode. I mean, it was just, yeah, again, it just felt like the first episode of an arc, if anything, even though it's the third one. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Sure. What? What? Okay, give me the quiz. What? I don't know. What's the quiz? Give me the quiz, please. She's doing the fast talking. Alright, well, as usual, the quiz completely stumps me. I have no idea. So, see you guys in the discussion. Alright, let's go through the episode. So that was, yeah, I mean, I said it like 4 times during the ED there, but this feels like the setup for the arc, even though this is actually, like, the third episode. Oh my god, I love this Hachikuji face. Like, what is that? Like, what? That's great. That's perfect. Man, what do I even want to talk about first? So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's like the main emotional conflict of this arc at this point for me is like, obviously there's Hanakawa stuff with Araragi, her being interested in him and how that's going to be resolved, but I'm just more interested in how Araragi is going to react to that and what his solution for it will be, right? Because like, yeah, I mean, it's like I was saying during the ED, like, you know, if he wants to go for the obvious solution, which it seems like he always does, when he was the obstacle in Komburu's case, right? He was the thing that had to go away in order to help her. Um, he was just gonna let her kill him, right? In this case, he really can't. There's no, what breaking up with Sendra and dating Hanakawa instead. That's just really not an option at all. There's like no universe in which that's even possible. So it's like Araragi is gonna have to. Man, I don't know. I don't know what Aragi's gonna have to do. Although I have a sneaking suspicion that just like the previous arcs, because pretty much every arc hasn't really had a solid conclusion where the actual emotional issue has been dealt with fully. So I have a suspicion that however this concludes, it isn't actually going to deal with Hanakawa's problem fully, right? I mean, I don't know how you even could, especially when like she is so um when she's like this. I don't know. There's a lot I could say about that, but when her problem is just like uh very conducive to never having her problem solved, right? Because if you never want to feel like a burden to other people, if you never want to, feel like you're being pushy about your problems, if you think it's being pushy about your problems and you think it's being a burden just to tell someone about your problems at all, um, then like I don't know, it's gonna be rough. It is gonna be rough, especially with someone like Araragi, because man, because like right now he just has no idea what her problem is. I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna. Obviously, he's gonna find out in some way, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. Like this scene where she's on the bike with him, and she talks about the vampire thing. The man, what does she call it exactly? I forget the exact word. Hypnotism? Captivate? Yeah. It's like, the vampires are known to be, have like this extreme charisma where they can, like charm people, like hypnotism, like she says. And it's like it's like her wanting to come up with an excuse for her own feelings here not actually being real, right? She wants some kind of external explanation for her feelings that aren't just that's what she's feeling, right? It's like Convert, right, with the monkey. She didn't want to think that really her decisions and what she wants is hurting other people. She wanted to think it was this evil supernatural monkey paw thing that was making her hurt other people, right? It's similar to that type of thing, you know? Because it's a lot easier to think like this than it is for her to actually face her problems, right? And in a way, it's like the whole aberration possessing her. It's very similar to Combra, right? Because like the aberration cat possessing her and you know, it dealing with her problems in this bizarre way where it goes out and attacks people and energy drains them. Um, like obviously that doesn't actually do anything to solve her problems, right? Like it doesn't matter how many people she energy drains as this evil cat going around and attacking people. That's never actually going to solve her problem, right? But it's like it's like taking her problems and dealing with them in this weird external way that she doesn't have to, you know, because she's being possessed and it's this cat thing that's taking over her body that's dealing with her problems for her, right? Because she can't do it, you know. I mean, she can try. I mean, you know, there are some problems she can deal with as long as she doesn't have to rely on other people, right? If she has to rely on other people at all, you know, it's very difficult for her because she'll feel like a burden. She'll feel like she's, you know, bothering people, right? And it's like I feel like that's what this whole, you know, I can't imagine how hard it was for her to even call Aragi out here in the first place to the park, right? With her personality and her behavior, it must have been very difficult for her to even make this first step. And then once Aragi does get here, for one, she asks him, you know, she asks him to just show her to Oshino, which for one, it's almost like she's trying to come up with an excuse for why she called him out here. Like she doesn't want to admit that she wants help from him, right? Because, you know, she doesn't want to feel like a burden. So all she's doing is asking him to show her to Oshino so that Oshino can help her, right? Because she doesn't want to, you know, she doesn't want Aragi to feel like she's like weighing him down with all of her problems, even though Aragi wouldn't ever think that, right? Aragi has like the opposite kind of personality in that sense, right? He lunges towards other people's problems in a very extreme way. Which it's almost like that's like the worst thing for Hanakawa, right? Because Aragi is so willing, he's so willing to a fault of wanting to help other people that like he would make her feel like a burden with her problems, like no matter what, right? Because if it seems like she has any kind of problem at all, Aragi would immediately want to help her with them no matter what it's going to do to him. And that's just going to make her feel awful because it's just going to reinforce the idea that her problems are a burden on other people if she sees Aragi struggling to help her or, you know, anything like that, you know. And like this whole thing where she goes rambling on about these stupid radio show letters. It's like you know, I feel like I mean, I don't think I'm overanalyzing it. I think this is absolutely it. She's just wasting time talking about nonsense because she's like, you know, she's just delaying, putting off talking about her actual problems anymore. Because Aragi directly confronts her, basically. And it's like, okay, tell me about your problem. I'm gonna, you know, I wanna look into it for you. And she immediately starts rambling about nonsense for half of the episode. Basically, it seems like just doing anything she can to not talk about her own problems, right? Yeah. And then, so, this is very horrible. What Aragi says here. I care more about my debt to you than our friendship. That is just a horrible thing to say. Like, what on earth? That's an awful thing to say. I don't even, like, that's just awful. That's a terrible thing to say. Why would you say that? It's very weird. It's very weird that he has this attitude. Like, no, I can kind of connect it. So, like, you know, she helped him during spring break, which we've kind of, yeah. She says, didn't you just save yourself? Because for us as well, that's kind of been our, you know, like, Aragi has this whole thing about how people only save themselves, right? But it's like an interplay with his view of himself, where he thinks very little of himself. He thinks he's like awful and can't do anything right and never helps anyone, right? So he has these two things where people can only save themselves, and I'm a terrible, awful person who can't do anything right. So in that sense, it's like it makes sense why he would have an exclusion in his mind for, everyone saves themselves. I never help anyone, right? He sees Senjugahara making all this progress. She's like, oh, she just saved herself. Kanbaru does all of this stuff. Oh, she just saved herself. Senjugahara helped her. I didn't, blah, 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 blah. But for him, he thinks that he's such a loser who can't do anything that he thinks it's impossible for him to save himself, right? He has to rely on other people to save him. And he thinks it's such a big, huge deal that other people help him because he thinks he's such a loser that, like, he can't imagine people going out of their way to help him, because he thinks he's such a loser, right? He has such low opinion of himself that people going out of their way to help him, he's like, why would anyone do that? That's not worth it, right? Because I'm me. So it makes sense why he would form this idea of he thinks he has this huge debt to people who have helped him, right? I mean, obviously, we don't have any idea what Hanakawa actually did for him, so it's possible it's not as bad as I'm, like, explaining here, because I guess we don't. Maybe she pulled him out of a burning building. Like, I don't know, but if it's anything less than that, less than her actually saving his life, then this really is a strange, like, thing that he's going on about here. This whole crazy indebtedness thing where he thinks that she saved him, right? But it's entirely born from his incredibly low opinion of himself, right? And it's like man, I just wonder, like, all this stuff about how he cares more about his debt to her than their friendship. Just that's such an awful thing to say. I'm just trying to understand how that can even, like, come out of his mouth. Just that is like the worst thing we have ever heard Araragi say. And especially just imagine being in Hanakawa's shoes, what she must be thinking. About that. Like, that's just so awful to say that. It's like, it almost makes it sound like their friendship, like, isn't real, and that he's just, you know, it's like, it almost just makes it sound like for Araragi that he's only her friend because he feels like he has this crazy debt to her. Like, I don't believe that for a second, right? They're just friends, but it's like, for Araragi to say that, that's in a way it could easily be misconstrued. And it's like, I can almost imagine as well that it's like, Hanakawa Hanakawa is so worried about being a burden on other people and her problems bothering other people. It's like, well, in this case, it certainly seems it's almost like her helping Araragi has burdened him with her. It's like now you could just imagine from her perspective. He's saying, okay, our relationship as friends, I don't actually care about it. All I care about is our debt. And it's like she could just picture herself now as just like um this thing that Araragi is stuck to because he just feels so indebted to her, instead of actually just being her friend. So, like, yeah, just a horrible thing to say. Like, man. But yeah, I like this, how we clarify his opinion about this whole, you know, you can only save yourself thing, right? It really does. It applies to everyone other than him, personally. Um, and it makes sense it's just because of his own opinion of himself, right? Hmm. Hmm. And she has the cat ears, which is very very cute. Um yeah, and he doesn't really get very close to figuring out her problem, that's for sure. So this whole thing Oshino is talking about how Aragi's gonna be, alone one day and won't have Oshino to rely on. I feel like that's part of why Oshino is acting so weird. At least to me, it seems like he was acting weird. I mean, um, I almost feel like it's like he's surprised that Araragi is asking him to help with Hanakawa when he just gave him this long thing about how, like, you know, he's not going to be here one day and he needs to start doing this by himself. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. He just says some weird things. Oshino does. Says he's really busy when he's, I don't know, smoking a bunch of cigarettes or something. I guess. I'm so bad. But like he says weird stuff like this all the time. Like when he tells Aragi that he's like been waiting for a century for him every time, even though he seems like he's a homeless person who sits in an abandoned building all day. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. Does that cover most of that? I think so. He knocks out Hanakawa, and the sex kitten shows up. Um, which I don't know. It's interesting. I guess we'll see. It just feels like setup for all this, so I guess we will see. That is for sure. Yeah, the scene with Aragi and Sindrigahara with her saying this stuff about her voice actor is very funny. Um, hmm. She knows what he means by volunteering, I think. And it's like this is I feel like this just serves as just one more reminder, just right before he delves into Hanakawa's problem. Just this very cute scene with her saying, uh, that he will say that to her and all of that. Um, I feel like it just serves as a final reminder just how like, what this problem is for Aragi and Hanakawa and how it can't be resolved in the easy way, right? Um, I'll read those in a second. And then there's this talk with Hajikuji at the start, which, for one, he really just, man, he sure is a fan of Hajikuji, huh? Which is interesting. Because he doesn't act like that with anyone else, right? This extreme over the top way. Because I really feel like it's just, he's generally Aragi's a very emotionally closed off person, right? Just like Hanakawa was saying in Suraga Monkey, when she was talking about the self fields that Aragi and Sindrigahara have. He's a closed off person. He doesn't like telling people about his problems either. Um, but Hajikuji, it just feels like it's different because Hajikuji is just this invisible little girl that no one else can see. So it's like he can tell her anything and he doesn't have to worry about it. It's like a no strings attached relationship, unlike everyone else in the show. Unlike every other relationship he has, there's like some kind of emotional baggage or hang up he has going on. But with Hajikuji, not really. She's just his little buddy. So I don't know. It's like you can just, you can talk to her. It's nice. And she tells him about this weird Shinobu stuff. Um, which like I don't know what that's all about. Shinobu just being out alone is weird. Um, because like I was under the impression that Shinobu like has to drink blood from Araragi to like survive, right? That's what it seems like. That's what. Man, I mean, there's no way I remember what episode it was, but one of the like the text flashes after the opening, and one of the episodes explained like he has to have his blood drunk by Shinobu once a month. So I assume in order for her to survive, she needs Araragi to give her blood, right? Because it seems like she's in a very like weakened state and a very So I wonder if that's part of what Oshino was talking about, why he was acting so weird because Shinobu's gone. I don't know. I really have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. It's just nice. I like his dynamic with Hajikuji, I guess. Hmm. All right. Well, let's read the text flashes, and I think we're all done here. They were cat ears. From the small head of Hanakawa grew cute small cat ears. So hard. Wait, oops, I gotta go frame by frame. I stood silent, biting my lower lip. So hard it started bleeding. That's funny. I just decided to be serious, so I can't smile. Delivering an appealing speech which moves your partner and then bursting with laughter on him. A typical manga cliche. But I swear that at least I will never do something like that. Well, you did. Still, these cat ears. They suit Hanakawa really well, as if they were specially designed to match her properly brushed forelock. I thought that during the Golden Week, too. You can say she was born to have cat ears, if anything. During the nightmare case that was Golden Week, her ears weren't really Hanakawa style. Thus, this immense destructive power. Ah, I see. This time the cat ears are black, the same color as her hair. That is interesting, isn't it? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I think that her cat ears, the color, I feel like there's something there. I would have to think about it though. I don't know. Yeah, that was a good episode. Just kind of felt like setup, but I guess I'm excited to see where the rest of the arc is going to go. I'm very invested in what Aragi's going to think when, I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one.